Welcome back to the Counterfeit Emotions podcast. I'm Curtis Morley, and I'm an emotionologist. Thanks for joining me on this journey to find your most authentic life and the one emotion that can't be counterfeited, and that's peace. I'm so excited today. We have a friend, Logan, and I have a feeling this is going to be one of the most fun episodes that
hopefully
we're going to do. And so one thing that happened recently in your life is that you were ranked as the number 4 men's mental health influencer in the world.
It's kind of niched down, really specific, but yeah, no, it was really cool because that's obviously like my main platform is men's mental health, and that was a really cool little pleasant surprise, and ranked right behind 3 doctors. So
Yeah.
that was okay, cool, I can hang.
Yeah, I noticed the list. Dr. Daniel Amen
I love his stuff.
Number 1. He's such a good man, and I love Dr. Amen. And if you keep going down the list, like it's not a little thing. It's like these are some major players in the men's mental health world.
Yeah, it was a really cool little moment of recognition. Kind of a, some people don't take lists super seriously here and there, but for me it was really cool because it was been doing it for about 4 years, and so to have your name ranked on a list where different companies and organizations go to find some validity behind certain influencers and people who have presences online, it was really cool to be like, oh, not only am I in the top, but on the link, like I'm on the thumbnail, so it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the cool part is Tyson, my business partner, my co-host. He's only been online for about a year, aside from the company that the grooming company that we run, and he was ranked 28. In the list of 40, and he's pretty new at it. So it's cool to have the impact that we've had.
You know what I love even more than the fact that you ranked number 4 is the fact that you include Tyson when you talk about it, and he does the same for you. Like the bond you guys have, the friendship you guys have with Dad Bods and Beards is crazy.
Well, that guy is my brother through and through. Like we joked about, finding one of the best friends you'll ever have in your 30s and 40s. The last 2 years since we've started Dad Bods and Beards, and the last 3 years since he and I have been friends, he has undoubtedly become my brother. And it's not even a question in my mind to include him because so much of my life involves him and his family. And there is no Dad Bods and Beards without Tyson. There is no Dad Bods and Beards without me. Like we are one and the same when it comes to that, because our intentions and our goals are aligned with what we're trying to do. And it's not like there's work, right? And there's job, and it is a job in a sense, but like we don't ever, not see eye to eye when it comes to what we're trying to accomplish. And so his wins are my wins and my wins are his wins. And I think that when you feel that accomplishment for your friend and for a brother to like see them win as well, it's like you take it almost like as a sense of pride of kind of like, yeah, we're doing this together. And it's for me, I could keep going on and on and on. That guy means so much to me in my life and what he's done for me. So
the whole show will just be how much we love Tyson.
Tyson's pretty freaking cool. Yeah.
An hour of how much we love Tyson. And I saw that firsthand just a few weeks ago at the Utah Valley Marathon when Tyson came in. He did the half, and then you did the full. And Tyson ran in, and like when you came in, I think Tyson was even more excited than when he came in.
So the funny story there is, I mean, the brand we run on the podcast we run is Dad Bods and Beards, and we affectionately have been called the Dad Bods for a while.
Yeah.
Tyson has been a big guy for a long time. I've been a big guy for a long time. He was like 350 pounds. I was 300. And we've both been on a journey of improving our mental health through improving our physical health as well. And we were challenged by our coach, Brock Painter, to run a marathon and a half marathon last year. And neither one of us could run a mile. And
so literally not even a mile.
I could not run a mile without stopping and having my heart rate at like 170, 180. Oof. And it was a feat of personal accomplishment and a feat of getting out of your own way and showing what you're capable of. So we started training, and it started with me, Brock and I having this really deep conversation, and me feeling like I'm stuck here and things aren't going my way, and feeling like I was trapped in the job that, I needed at the time. And he's like, "Hey, well, you're gonna run a marathon." I'm like, yeah, okay. Sure, Brock. I'm
good one, Brock.
I'm just under 300 pounds. I'm 5'10". I don't run. Like, yeah. And we talked about the reasons why, and that finish line would be a starting line for, like, just all the metaphors. But Brock has this beautiful way of explaining everything, and really bringing it home, and helping you understand that you are a category of one. Like, you are in competition with nobody but yourself. And so when I agreed to that, literally the first call I make is Tyson. And I'm like, what did I just get myself into? And the first words out of his mouth is, "I'll do it with you." And that guy's had knee replacement surgery. He's had back issues and stuff.
And he was 350.
Yeah, and he was a power lifter. So, I mean, he's big frame. Dude's built like a gorilla. Like,
he is.
And he's like, "I'll do it with you." And then he and his wife signed up for the half marathon. And subsequently, like, I had a buddy fly out from Florida. I had my buddy Corey Bonner sign up, and it was just this rally of people around this idea of nothing, super original, running a marathon. People do it all the time, but it was inspiring other people to do something that was inspiring me. And it was all these, just this cornucopia of personal wins across the board of all these different people. But the coolest part is I was running the full with a couple of buddies. Tyson FaceTimes me after he finishes, and the whole time he's very self-defeating at times, because he is one of the most, I don't know, gentle guys you will ever meet, that does not give himself as much credit. And I feel like I can say that, because I spent so much freaking time with the guy. But he was so anxious the whole time going through this half marathon, thinking that he was going to get passed by all of us running the full marathon. And he ended up finishing the half marathon significantly faster than he was expecting, because he had his amazing wife running with him the whole time. Mm-hmm. And you saw this, and then he FaceTimed me. I'm going to get emotional. I'm like 20 miles in. I got like 6 miles left, and he had finished it. And he's like, "Dude, I'm done." He's like, I finished it. And he and I just both start crying. I'm still running. I'm gassed. Like, I got 6 miles left, and now I'm like starting to get emotionally drained, because you just watched one of the best friends I will ever have. Like I said, my brother accomplishing something that he was really scared that he was going to have a hard time finishing, and he did it. And then he proceeded to wait a few more hours for me to finish. Missed the bus rides back to his car, all that stuff, because he wasn't going to miss me coming through. And then on top of all that, as you know, you were kind enough to show up and surprise me and get all these amazing photos and pictures. My wife is really stressed out about, never having done a marathon, before, seeing where to line up, where to watch them across the finish line. I called Tyson. I was like, "Hey, Chelsea's really stressed out. She doesn't know where to stand. We want to get the kids to run across the finish line with me." And he's like, "I got it." So he took my kids.
He's on it.
Obviously, I trust the guy with my family. And he took the kids from Chelsea, walked them all the way down to where they needed to, and sat there and waited with my kids until I got there. So I could have this special moment with my kids. So that's what I've had some pretty ups and downs with actual, quote, actual family over the years. And to find people that treat you with unconditional love that you've only known for a fraction of your life, and go out of their way to support you and make sure you have your moments. It's easy, for lack of a better word. It's easy to be around them. It's easy to have relationships with them. It's easy to just grow with them, and like to want to watch them win as well. And I feel like if you could write a book about the last 3 years of mine and Tyson's friendship, and be like, kind of what he said was, I'll do it with you.
He's just always there.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean to get into that. Yeah, it's
don't be sorry. This is the place to do it.
Yeah, he's a he's a man I care for very deeply and love like a brother. And I know that, you know, with some mental health issues, mental illness issues that I will deal with my entire life, I know for a fact that he will be one of the first calls if anything ever happened. That my wife would be immediately calling Tyson, because the guy would probably trip out of his house putting his shoes on.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what time of night it is to get to where he needs to be. So yeah, that's that's a sweet sore spot, right? Of just, you bring up my friendship with that guy. And that's why, you know, we're building what we're trying to build together is I feel like I know that guy at his core without a doubt. So
yeah. And I love that in that whole experience, like you trained for months and months. How many months?
From October until June. So about 8 months, 8.5 months. Yeah.
And grueling, and the weight loss, and the aerobic, and all of the things. You didn't talk anything about that. You talked about the finish line. You talked about that support from Tyson. You talked about how much that meant to you in the journey. Mm-hmm. And talk to me about how important is that exact aspect in men's mental health. Like, how important is it? Because the research is out there. It shows that most men suffer in silence. Mm-hmm. Most men hold it in, be tough, man up, cowboy up, let's do this. How important is having a Tyson in your life for mental health? How important is that in the big picture?
Well, I mean, this I mention Brock Painter all the time, and because he is another guy that is my corner, and he said the best way to heal a sick dog is you put him in a healthy pack, and that is a statement that I live by, because when you find the people who unconditionally love and support you, and that is a big, bold unconditionally, because that is a word that is thrown out a lot, but I don't think people truly understand the definition
of support,
of unconditionally. Unconditional love, meaning without conditions, meaning I love you no matter what you do or what happens. I don't always have to agree with you, but I love you and support you unconditionally. And when you are trying to live your most authentic life, I think you find those people, you attract them in, and I love Tyson to death. I could not be doing what I'm doing without him. But on that same note, I wouldn't even be physically alive without the unconditional love and support of my wife. And so I think that along the journey of mental health and managing, you know, something maybe a little bit more serious as like a chemical imbalance or a mental illness, you have to find the people that are going to drag you out of those pits. The ones that are going to give you the hard talks and the absolute loving and most empathetic way, but at the same time still hitting you right in the heart where you need to, so you can invoke that change that you know, it's not just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Sometimes, you know, you've got to have somebody to pull you out,
drag you out.
And in the journey of managing your mental health, managing a mental illness, and making it through those really dark times, you will find people that are not the people that you thought they were, or the people that you don't need to have in your corner, or you don't want to have in your corner. And it's a really hard truth to learn. Yeah. But then when you do find those people, they stark in contrast, and you're like, where have you been? Where have you been this whole time? And then you can't imagine your life without them. And so it's, you know, it's my wife above all else, and my children, and Tyson is right there in that category with them, of just, I feel guilty that some people don't have those relationships in their life. And I feel that sometimes on social media, people are like, oh my gosh, Logan with the bipolar, and that's why I try to bring the relatability through social media, and I feel a little bit guilty at times that I have this support circle that I've found over the years, because so many people don't. They don't have anything remotely close to that. And sometimes they end up losing their battle with mental illness, and they go down these dark paths, and sometimes we lose them too early in life.
Yeah.
Because they might have opened up to the wrong person, and it happens all the time. They try to find support and love and connection in the wrong people. And those people either aren't suited to handle that kind of a connection, or they don't have the information, or they don't have the empathy or the unconditional love. So I can't put words almost to the fact of how important it is to have someone like a Tyson, or have someone like my wife, Chelsea, that, I mean, again, talking about the guilt, like, to their own detriments at times, supporting me and lifting me up and dragging me out of the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad that you have both of those, that you have an amazing, supportive, loving wife. You have Tyson, that, yeah. And it's amazing. You've met Patty, my Patty.
Oh yeah. I love that you call her my Patty. Like, I think that's adorable. So
this is my second marriage, and I had no idea that marriage could be this way, that there could be such unconditional love, that every morning I could wake up almost in unbelief.
That's cool.
There's several times I've just rolled over and poked her just to make sure she's real, because of how much genuine love and concern that she has. And I love what you said about being dragged out, sometimes we are in a place where we're in the quicksand. Wow. And the more we struggle, the faster we sink. And having that person to give us that lifeline is the difference. My whole platform is Counterfeit Emotions, is the difference between nice and kind. There's so many nice people in the world of, I'll just say what you want me to hear, or what you want to hear. I'll just placate. I'll just be the doormat, the yes man. But we don't need those people in our lives. The people we need in our lives are the ones that are going to have the hard conversations done in love, that are willing to go there with us.
Yeah. And I think that on that note, that's even like, you can even peel another layer back on that. And this is something that I've experienced, is that there will be people that are saying that they're doing or saying something out of love. But I think that's used as kind of a cop-out. I think that's used as kind of a facade of, I want to control this situation, I want to control you, or I want to give you my opinion, but then I'm going to mask it with, but I'm doing this because I love you, or we're doing this because I love you. But in reality, it's maybe a little bit more self-serving for the person that's, quote, trying to help you, because they're not taking the opportunity or the efforts needed to see you in that moment, and maybe what you really need, and not so much what they think you need. So it is this convoluted, hard thing to, like, I'm not that everything's always malicious, but that it's like, I think as human beings, we need to, especially with social media, we need to admit when we just don't know. Like, we just don't know how to help somebody, or maybe we could be wrong in a situation, like, especially if it's coming to someone that you care about, or is in a family situation where they disagree with what you're doing, or what you've done, or what you're thinking, or what you're saying, or what you're believing, any of those things. And that I think that if we all take a step back and we, take more of an inward approach and try to practice a little bit more empathy, I think you'll find the right authentic message to find, to work with somebody on. And I think that's one thing I've had some experiences on is, people overstepping boundaries and saying it's out of love.
So let's dig into that. Let's dive into how do we become that person that starts with empathy, that starts with compassion, that starts with seeing the other person, and still be able to have those hard conversations but do it in a way that's meaningful. I think about Brene Brown. She has this awesome video of this bear and a fox, and what it means to truly have compassion or empathy. And she says a phrase. She said it's hilarious. I don't remember if it's the bear or the fox is in this cave, and then this antelope or something looks down in the cave and tries to silver lining everything. And she turns it into a verb.
Yeah.
We're going to silver lining this. And the antelope looks in and goes, well, at least you're not as bad as this person, or at least you don't have it, as bad as it used to be, and they try and say at least, which doesn't, it doesn't show compassion. It doesn't show empathy. It doesn't say, hey, I see you where you're at.
Yeah. It's
trying to say, well, forget about all your worries. At least you're not as bad as this person or this situation. So how do we get into that place in your opinion? How do we become that person to be able to support? Because I truly believe, just like you said, or I guess Brock said, put a sick dog in a healthy pack. That's the best way to get them healed. Is specifically with men's mental health. That support group is so critical. How do we become that person for others?
Well, like you said, this is just my opinion. I don't even claim to be any kind of expert. This is just through my experience, right? As somebody who lives with bipolar, I really don't know what way to, like I am bipolar, I have bipolar. I don't really care that's, how to describe it. It's a part of my life. It will always be part of my life. It is a chemical imbalance. And one of the problems with bipolar is you lose empathy. Like you become so, I don't know, self-centered might be the wrong word, the wrong phrase.
Hyper-focused.
You become so hyper-focused on your own problems and the own hurricane happening in your brain all the time that you lose the ability to connect with other people because you almost don't care. Because you are so focused on trying to fix your own problems that 90% of the time you caused. So for me,
things are so urgent. Things are so right now, right here. I can't even look beyond this.
Or it's like the cartoon. It's like the old Looney Tunes cartoons where the guy is sawing the tree branch, but he's on the wrong side. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, I'm solving this problem, but you're causing a problem. Like, hey, this branch is hanging over and dropping stuff on my house. So I'm going to go cut it down. But then you're sitting on the wrong side of the branch and you're cutting it down thinking you're solving a problem, but you're causing another. So for me, empathy was this it was like a muscle. Like I had to relearn empathy. And it was like, we could go back farther and farther and farther and farther, to like to the beginning stages of this. But essentially, mental health is a constant journey of management, right? Everyone deals with it. Some mental illnesses cannot be, quote, cured, right? You're going to deal with them forever. And for me, with bipolar, empathy is a hard one. And sometimes I've joked that I learned a little bit too much because now it's like, crap, no, feeling this one way too hard. But it is a,
man, I learned this.
Yeah, dang it. I wish I could care less. But for me, empathy is one of those things that, like everything else, like it's, the more you work on it, the more you see people, the more you understand the importance of taking yourself outside your own thoughts and trying to put yourself in that person's shoes and be like, hey, what are they going through? Maybe this is why their response is this way, and understanding that your words do have a major impact, not just your words, but your actions, like the vibration you're giving off, like the mood that you're giving off, the faces that you make. And we live in a time, especially in men's mental health, where everyone's always, like, oh, that's soft, or that's woke, or that's too yada, 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 yada. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because especially for men, if you didn't have the ability to experience those emotions or get to that plane, then it wouldn't be important. Like the fact that we can get there, it, to me, proves that like, okay, this is an important part of life.
It's part of
you
us.
need
It's
to be
natural.
able to, exactly. You need to be able to express all of these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is no such thing as a bad emotion.
Mm-hmm.
All emotions come into us, at very least, are messengers.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we think in the black and white, the good and bad, the 1, the 0, that, okay, I need to put a judgment to this emotion. I need to say, I'm feeling this. This is a bad emotion. I'm going to stop feeling it. And the truth is, there is no such thing as a bad emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one, at the bare minimum, even the counterfeits, even the counterfeit emotions, bring a message. The trouble is when we let the messenger become a dictator, when we let that emotion that is on our bus become the driver of the bus.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of the things is we're with Dad Bods and Beards, and what I'm trying to do on social media is we're trying to redefine masculinity. And for so long, I mean, we have generations that have all subscribed to the same definition of masculinity,
Which is
bottle it up, don't talk about it, rub some dirt in it, suck it up.
man up.
But the same thing is true is that there's a lot of people that act like that is not applicable. To me, masculinity is like this perfect amalgamation of both. Is that you need to have the emotional intelligence to understand what you're feeling and how you may come across to somebody else and how you can impact their life in a positive way. But at the same time, have that rub some dirt in it mentality to get up and take action when you have those feelings. So I think as men, the masculinity and, through testosterone, whatever hormones, I don't care how the delivery aspect of it, we do have this get up and get it done mentality when we are feeling that pump of endorphins, or I'm going to go get after it.
Yeah.
Use that to your advantage, but don't let that be the only driving force. Don't let that be the only thing that is pushing you in the right direction. Make sure that, let that be the rocket fuel, but before that, do the science inside your brain and, use all the emotional intelligence you have to understand that, you're going to have an impact one way or another once you get to where you're going. Is it going to be a positive impact, or are you going to be someone, you're going to be leaving someone thinking like, oh, that dude's pretty toxic, right? Because there's this whole battle on social media. Oh, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's just toxic people. I'm going to call bull on that. I'm going to call major bull on that. And it's because I have seen toxic masculinity. I have participated in toxic masculinity. And toxic masculinity is one of the things where I'm fine and I'm just going to bottle all this up. I'm not going to tell anybody about any of my problems. And then I'm going to shake that bottle of Coke over and over and over. And then I'm going to explode on everybody I care about in the worst way possible. And then everybody's going to get covered in that spray. And it's going to be angry. It's going to be violent. It's going to be hurtful. It's going to be vicious. Some people, it manifests in physical abuse, some in emotional abuse, some in financial abuse, some in all kinds of forms of abuse, because something deep down inside that guy was unhealed because he was sucking it up, because he was rubbing some dirt in it.
Yeah.
Instead,
and addictive behavior,
or addictive behaviors, I mean, we could
things.
sit here for hours just talking about what happens when guys bottle up.
Yeah.
And instead of having, I believe the highest form of masculinity is being able to recognize that you have something going on inside your mind, your body, your soul, whatever you want to call it, that doesn't feel right. And then taking an emotional action to repair it, and going and finding somebody who does know better than you in that field, whether that's talk therapy, whether that's psychiatry, whether that's meditation, or if you spiritual or whatever, just try something. Like the men have this skewed version that we have all the answers, because I think for history,
we're supposed to.
Men have been told we have the answers.
Yeah.
We lead everything. And I think that's what toxic masculinity is that we are above asking for help. To me, that is
we have to be infallible.
Yeah. To me, that is the most asinine thought, is that you are above asking for help because you can figure it out on your own.
It's the classic driving around in the 80s before GPS and having the map and, I'm not going to ask for directions. I'm the man. I've got to figure this out myself.
And the cliche jokes are everywhere. And that's the thing is, but look at let's, rein that joke in a little bit. 80% of suicides are men.
Yeah.
Which to me is the only fact you need to understand that we don't have all the answers. We do need help. We are fighting battles that we don't need to be fighting because we refuse to reach out. And to me, masculinity is synonymous with vulnerability. And you got so many guys that are afraid of vulnerability, rightfully so, because the one time they were vulnerable, it doesn't take more than maybe one time with a guy to have his vulnerability slapped back in his face. to where he'll never open up again.
Oh, yeah.
Whether that was mom, whether that was dad, whether that was a sibling, whether it was a partner, a spouse, a friend, a teacher, anybody. Women have the ability to try again and again and again and again to connect. Men, it'll take one, maybe two times to be shot down, and you're like, I'm never doing that again. I'm never touching that again. And then that's where we get the suicide rates. We get the men's mental health crisis. And then you have the rest of the world and society and people like that saying that men have enough space. Yeah. We don't need to be empathetic towards these men. They have enough space. Men run the world, which in a sense they are right, but we don't have enough healthy space.
That's the key.
We don't have enough space of people telling us we didn't. It's getting a lot better. It's getting significantly better. I love seeing the trends on social media and other places, like Joe with I Love You, Bro.
I Love You, Bro project.
That guy is literally just cutting the biggest wake right now.
He's so amazing. And like the Here Brotherhood.
Yeah.
And
John Moore,
and
he and
Mike Allen.
Yeah, he and I become really good friends, and what they're doing. And that's the thing, is it's not this competition. When we start rubbing shoulders with other guys that are aligned in the cause of men's mental health awareness, and it's not just awareness, it's action too. Like we're trying to just show men that, like, hey, your life gets immeasurably better if you start focusing on yourself in a positive way. Not being self-centered, not being narcissistic. Focus on yourself and improving the things that you are struggling with for the people that you love the most. Put all of their efforts like to the test. Like, they love you so much that they are sticking around. Make your life worth their love. And I mean that in the best way possible. Not that your worth is only dependent on the people you're with.
Because it's not.
It's not. But for the people like my wife, I don't share all of this story of the last 8 years of what we've been through to get to this point, and the years before of the trauma I put her through being undiagnosed and unmedicated with bipolar, because it's not only my story to tell. It's very deep-seated traumatic experiences for her. And I would not be physically alive if it were not for that woman. And a major part of my life and my existence is to do all of her work and love justice for holding our children's peace as the highest priority while I was falling apart, and protecting their peace at sometimes her own expense. And she deals with a lot of stuff and a lot of trauma and a lot of negative emotions about how she handled things at that time, because women are so emotionally intelligent that they beat themselves up over things that they don't deserve to beat themselves up over. And so for me, I think there is an appropriate level of living your life for the people that have shown up for you unconditionally over and over and over. But it goes all the way back to emotional intelligence with men.
Yeah.
If you don't get out of your own damn way and start asking for help, nothing is going to change.
And going along with those same statistics, addictive behavior creates a 650% higher likelihood of a man taking his life. Mm-hmm. And that addictive behavior comes from shame. And shame has three elements. I call it the shame food: secrecy, silence, and judgment. Secrecy, silence, and judgment are the food of shame. And when we're silent, when we don't reach out, when we're not willing to be vulnerable and open our hearts, then we lead into that addictive behavior, which then leads into the thing that creates more pain for our family than anything.
Yeah.
And I love how you described masculinity. Masculinity being, I'm going to get vulnerable first. I'm going to understand my emotions first. Then I'm going to take action. I'm going to do the science before I fire the rocket.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, and I don't say that lightly, and this is not, like I said, I'm not an expert. I went to a semester of school and I was like, this isn't for me. Right. Like, but I've lived some pretty crazy stuff with mental health and mental illness issues. Yeah. And I've done a lot of different work for me. Like, so this is opinions based off of my life and my life experiences and what I've seen in the lives of those we try to help. It takes a lot of work. And it
takes so much work.
Yeah. And it's not something that's just going to happen overnight. Right. And I don't claim to be like, oh, I'm good now. Like, no, I still have moments where I'm like calling my wife or calling Tyson being like, I don't know why, but I feel this way. Like I have no reason why to right now. Things seem to be going okay. And then there's moments where things have completely fallen apart. And if I didn't have the tools and the resources and the people in my life that I've gained in the last 8 years, I would be right back to where I started, if not worse. And so it takes a lot of work, and it's going to take effort, and you're not going to get it right the first time. You might not even get it right the 10th time, but you have to continue to try. Like this is like with most guys, like if something was broken that you held a lot of value in, whether it was a car or, if you're a gamer or you've got collectibles of different types, or, you're a lawn guy, you just like, if something was busted and it was something that you deeply cared about, I mean, it's not going to be any question in your mind to go do the right thing and take the right steps to get that back to the level that you expect it to operate at. I don't know why guys have such a hard time doing that with their mental health and with their emotional health. And it's what it comes down to. And it's so much easier said than done. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be like, oh, it's just easy. Just ask for help. Like that's asinine. It takes other men giving them permission and holding space for them.
Ooh, dive deeper on this.
And being like, look, I don't know how deep you want to go. So it's like, look, I've been where you've been. And not trying to find the silver linings in every little thing. Let someone sit in their grief and feel it.
Yeah.
Like go meet them where they're at. Don't try to always pull someone up to your level, because like Brock says, like a lot of times if you're in these, for lack of a better word and to say it lightly, like if you're in this funk, whether it's a really, really deep one or just a light one or whatever, for me, he'd said that it's part of your soul, your spirit, who you are, saying that I don't like this character that we're playing right now. Something is off. Something doesn't feel like I am in alignment with my goals, my purpose, my standards, whatever you want to call it. And so we need to, I feel like as men, we have a responsibility to help other men. Yeah. And by giving them the permission, and that's what we're aiming to do, is give men permission, because that permission has been taken away for centuries, if not longer than that. Men don't do that. Men don't talk about that. Men don't discuss this. Men don't.
Yeah.
So I think to flip the script, we have to say men do talk about that. Men are allowed to explore that. Because I think we had a man on the show, his name's Theo Fleury. He was a Olympic gold medalist in hockey, and he went through some intense trauma at a very young age, and then battled with addiction, substance abuse, and things like that. And he has since become quite the advocate for men's mental health and suicide prevention. And he said that when the men of this world heal, that's when everything changes.
Yes.
And I think that we have this ability to just lift everybody up. But if we ourselves are down, like, we're not doing anybody any justice. And I think we have this desire to just fix everything and help everyone. And we have this emotional intelligence just deep down inside us. We care about our people, but we don't care enough about ourselves to be more present for our people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
And so that's what it comes down to for me is it's giving men permission. And sometimes that's why it looks like what the dumb things that Tyson and I do is the dumb social media videos and reels and TikToks and stuff like that we do is we try to bring guys in with the funny of like, oh, it would be fun to go hang out with these guys.
Which is so awesome. Yeah. I have laughed so hard. Yeah. Like the cowboy one.
Oh yeah. With JJ. Yeah.
Like I am laughing literally out loud, and like they're so funny, and I love that you, in a sense, that's a form of vulnerability itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like being goofy, being silly on social media, and then getting people to keep coming back, so that then you can talk about the important, you can talk about the critical pieces.
Well, and we love the fact that we got this report back from, and when you have a podcast, you get put on these different charts and lists and ranking systems and things like that as you grow. And one of the ones that we got back from Apple was that we were ranked, weirdly enough, we were ranked in beards, even though we don't really talk about beards, we just have them. But we were ranked like 47th in the world for unscripted. Right.
Okay.
So it's like, when you think of the, million plus podcasts there are out there, I'm like, being ranked 47th for something is kind of cool. But it was for being unscripted. And we kind of thought it was a little bit of a joke at first, like, oh, that's kind of funny. But then as we kind of sat on it and kind of absorbed it a little bit more, I'm like, oh, so like, this is more of just like a come as you are and let's just have a conversation. And that's one thing that we pride ourselves in, is like, it's like the road trip talks. It's the campfire talks. It's the, when you've been sitting at the restaurant for 3 hours and you finished food 2 hours ago, but you're just jamming with your buddies.
Still there.
And you've been on road trips or sat around with buddies, and 1 minute you're just cracking up. And then the next minute, you get kind of heavy, whether it's emotional or you're talking about, spiritual stuff, or you're talking about relationship stuff. And that's what we kind of pride ourselves on, is like, it's the campfire talks with your buddies. It's like the, you're on a road trip, you're in the truck with everybody. And it's the emotional vulnerability that you glean from one another when you trust somebody. And so that's what, we try to do, is we try to, Tommy said this in the beginning when we were first getting started with some of our podcasts, was that you want to be able to, we want guys to feel like they're just in the room with us when we're doing the podcast, like just hanging out with Tyson and Logan,
just chilling. Because
that when you give men those permission to do that, then they feel empowered to make the right choices. The biggest wins that we get is when we get a message of somebody like, hey, I had my first therapy appointment today. Hey, I sat down and told my wife that I was feeling suicidal ideation, and her response was this. And those are the massive wins. But then at the same time, we get the dark messages. Hey, I reached out to somebody and they slammed me. Hey, I'm struggling. We had a guy, I'm not going to share any details or whatever, just out of privacy. Another country on the other side of the world that has been listening to us, reached out, and he left us a goodbye note on messages on social media. And I was in the middle of my anniversary date with my wife. And after, as many years as we've been together, anniversary day is Chinese food and Ted Lasso on the couch. Like, that's just what we wanted to do, right? Send the kids upstairs. But I get a message from Tyson. Hey, so-and-so just literally sent us a goodbye note. And thankfully we were able to intervene in time, and he's still with us.
Thank heavens.
But that weight,
thank heavens.
It's this, it's this kind of badge of honor you get to carry that also sometimes gets really heavy. It's more than just the dumb videos. It's more than just the funny, because if you can make someone laugh, this is why I love Robin Williams. And he is probably the perfect poster child for men's mental health. Sometimes it's the saddest clown that brings the most joy, because you don't want anybody else to feel the darkness that you felt. And so that's why Robin Williams just loved making people laugh, because obviously we know now in hindsight, he was struggling immensely. He lived in the darkness, but yet he brought so much light to everybody else. And so that's what we try to emulate, is we try to just bring guys in of like, oh, I want to hang out with these guys. They seem so fun and they seem so, whatever, and it's funny. But then it's like, hey, gotcha. Now we're going to talk about your mental health, because
guess what?
You matter. I don't care if I've never met you and you live on the other side of the world, but it's like, but you matter. And then it's like, it's taking those situations and it's actually doing something about it. And it was not a quick phone call.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to call the police in a different country from Utah on a Sunday. That was way more difficult than I thought it was going to be. But it was even, turning to my wife. She just knew that it was. I mean, we're in the middle of our anniversary date, and she just knew it was something that we had to do.
Yeah.
And so it's not just about following. It's not just about, interactions or likes or going viral or things like that. It's feeling this mantle or this calling in the most humble way possible of like, crap, we've created a platform that is actually helping some people. So we've got to double down and we've got to do something about it and not just offer podcasts and offer funny videos. And so there is a lot of back end work, and it gets heavy at times. But when I get a phone call from that guy a couple months later, and he's checking in with me and he's just wanting to let me know that he's okay. That's the win. You know what I mean? And it's like what Joe is doing with I Love You, Bro. What John and his friends are doing with the Here Brotherhood. What you're doing is that it's not this competition. It's literally, it's life-saving work.
It is.
And Zachary Levi has this quote. He said that when you've been through the fire and you've made it out alive, not necessarily unscathed, you have a moral obligations to carry buckets of water back to those who are still in the flames. And that, to me, I feel that so deep at my core, because I'm trying to build with Tyson and so many other people who are involved what 27-year-old Logan needed when he was done.
Yeah.
When I was in that parking lot in the middle of the night and I was surrounded by police and I was broken and I wanted to be done. My wife was pregnant with our second kid, and everything in my brain was saying, you're done. Do it. Rid yourself. Rid everybody of you, because you were a burden and you were just bringing everybody down. And I'm grateful that the people in my life said, no, like, absolutely not. We're not going to let you do that. And it took my wife, it took a stranger that has become a close friend now, to help me through that. And so many beautiful things have happened since then, but also at the same time, so many insanely difficult things have happened since then. But I've been able to develop the tools and the resources, and I don't know, the emotional intelligence to understand that what I say and what I do impacts other people than just me. And that's probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned, is that you have to love yourself and you have to respect yourself. And you have to work on yourself, but there are people in your life that are counting on you to just be the best version of yourself as you possibly can.
Logan, I'm so grateful you're still here.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful because of the good you're doing and the lives that you're blessing, the lives you're saving. Because that's the reason Counterfeit Emotions exists, is because of my friend Jerry, who didn't understand the difference between guilt and shame, didn't understand the difference between pain and misery, didn't understand the difference between sobriety and true recovery. And he's not here.
I'm sorry.
And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with how he left us. And I'm not willing to sit by and say, hey, it's okay to suffer in silence, because it's not. It is not okay to suffer in silence. That we've got to be there for each other. We've got to carry those buckets of water back to those that are still in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Make the call, get the police there, do what it takes. And then, not just that one event, but then sit with them in their pain after things have calmed down and say, let's dig in. Let's figure out what's going on inside. Let's do the work so that you don't have to come back here. And there's been many, many men that have gone through my pornography recovery program that have literally said the words, "You saved my life."
Yeah.
And the truth is, I didn't save their life. They saved their lives with some principles that truly taught them, okay, I understand guilt is actually healthy. Pain is beautiful, and the path to growth, that recovery is possible, that there is hope, there's true hope, that we don't have to suffer in sobriety.
No. I like that, suffer in sobriety. So I think that, and this is, I don't know, call it what you will, but I think a lot of guys are just seeking a little bit of healthy validation. And when they can find that, I think that's when you can spark some true change in people, especially men. And I will stand on this hill all day long. Men's mental health and recovery and things like that, it includes the feminine touch up and down the street. There is, and if I can continue on this road, I'm going to keep stirring some pots, but
Stir the pot.
There is a level of toxic masculinity that exists on social media that is very present here in Utah. And there's a lot of different groups and a lot of different guys that are selling courses and beating their chest and telling you the best way to be a man is to be like me, and I'll teach you how to do it for $3,000 a month. But you got to buy my course, you got to buy my book. And that is something I'm not okay with. And a lot of it always very specifically excludes women.
Yeah.
You can't, we're doing this event, women can't come because this is about men. This is about brotherhood. This is about, no.
Yeah, this is exactly why in our program, the wives, the girlfriends, the spouses are there the first week and the last week, and they're involved. It's that combination.
And surprisingly, we have quite a few women that listen to our show because it's a little snapshot into the brain of a guy sometimes, and that we do have more complex emotions than you think.
Yeah.
And that when you give a guy permission to start exploring those complex emotions, sometimes it's like, giving a toddler the remote. They don't know what to do. Like they might come across something like, whoa, don't go there. But that's what I'm saying is that, like, it goes down to, you get some of these groups that the best way to heal men is just stick them with other men. Like, no, you got to look outside. You got to look outside this echo chamber that you're in. And the best way to become a better person is not try to be like another guy that you might emulate that's really good at putting stuff out on social media. No, it's about looking inward and finding about, tuning your inner, vibration to what feels the most authentic to you. And so for us, like I said, kind of redefining masculinity is, we got to end this alpha talk. We got to end this, I love Joe to death with I love you, bro. And he took a shot last week that it has emboldened me a little bit. But it's not about lions and sheeps. To me, it's about being your brother's keeper, and it's about being a shepherd of people. It's not about being a predator. And so for me, it is about being there for somebody else and meeting them where they're at and not telling them to get better. You got to come to me and you got to be like me. So for me and for Tyson and everything we're trying to do, it's giving men permission to explore their feelings and then trying to provide them with resources and tools and different people and different perspectives of, like, hey, you're not alone in this. You're not the only person that's had that thought. You're not the only guy that's struggling with finances, with relationships, with being a good father or a bad father, with being accepted, childhood trauma. Like, we could just go on and on and on and on.
All of us.
As soon as you realize that you are not alone, it opens the doors to this, like, beautiful possibility of a, like, healthy, enjoyable life.
Yeah.
And then you get this high of, like, oh, I feel good. Like, it takes one shred of, like, oh, this feels good, and call it spirituality, call it God, call it the universe, call it, I don't care. If you get that little feeling deep down inside your chest that starts just emitting through your fingertips that, oh, this feels good, this feels right, chase that. We know the difference between outside stimulations and addictions and things like that, of like those counterfeit emotions, those things that give you that quick little hit, whether it be a substance, whether it be material, whether it be whatever.
Yeah.
They're not sustainable. But when you find that, that tuning fork, when it hits just right deep down inside you and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, run as fast as you can towards it. Yeah. Ask someone else. And for me, it was understanding that
you're not alone.
Yeah. Generations of men and people in general. Mental health is not just, it's not just about men. There's a lot of women that struggle with mental health issues, a lot of children that struggle with mental health issues. And it's understanding that we have had it wrong for a long time.
Yeah.
And that we now have experts and we have information and tools that we never had before. And that it is not weak to speak up.
Yeah.
It is the exact opposite. It is so easy to be quiet. It is so easy to put that mask on, tighten the cap on that Coke bottle, and tell everybody I'm fine. And one of my favorite quotes ever. Did you ever see the movie The Italian Job?
Yeah.
So fine stands for freaked out, insecure, neurotic, emotional. Like, sure, you're fine. Yeah, of course you're fine. We're all fine. But
freaked out. What was it? Freaked out.
Freaked out, insecure, neurotic, emotional. And so, yeah, it's really easy to tell everybody you're fine. Yeah. It's really easy to be quiet. It's really easy to put that mask of masculinity on and just act like nothing's going on. It takes guts and it takes a lot of strength and it takes a lot of like true, strong masculinity to tell somebody, I'm struggling. I'm feeling like this. I don't feel adequate. I don't feel like I have any value. I don't think that I'm a good husband. I am a bad dad. Or like, it doesn't always have to be a negative emotion. It's just, it could be like,
yeah.
It's same thing too of like, you have people who are, they get mad at people for sharing their wins. Like, vulnerability also looks like I'm proud of myself. I love myself. I've come a long way. Like, I've worked really hard for this and I did it.
Yeah.
And so vulnerability is not always just
marathon.
Like literally, like I had a couple people messaging me like, hey, we get it. You ran a marathon. I'm like, yeah, that was one of the hardest things I ever did. And for every 100 messages, I get one negative one. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, that is just them waving a flag. There's something going on in your life and someone's authenticity and somebody's light is blinding you a little bit. And it hurts because you got some stuff you're not looking at in your own life. And so I don't take offense to that. I just look at it as somebody who's at a different spot in their journey than I am.
Yeah.
But,
you nailed something so important is that aspect of saying, I'm not alone in this, because toxic masculinity does say, you are alone and you have to be alone. It's not just that you are alone, but you have to be alone, because if you're not, you're not strong enough. And true strength is not the bulging muscles, is not, the size of the truck or how many animals you've killed. And, it's true strength is that I have the courage to fight the demons inside.
Yeah.
Not just what's happening outside. I have the courage to go in here, and understanding that all men, like National Library of Medicine did a survey and they said, how many people in the last month looked at pornography or have these addictive behaviors? 91.5%. 91.5. We're talking, and then there's the other percent that probably lied about it.
Yeah, I was saying the other 9% that's lying. Yeah.
And the fact that you don't have to be alone in the struggle.
No.
There is a path out. There is a hope that, and just when I get men to realize, hey, you're not alone, and they see it, not just hear it, because it's one thing to hear, hey, you're not alone. It's another thing to see that these other men, oh, you're feeling the same thing. You struggle with pornography too. You are in this place too. Then they're like, okay, I can actually let the defensive down a little bit, and I can start saying it's time to heal.
Well, and I think that it comes down to feeling like you're worth the effort.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of people, like I said, I've joked of like any guy who says he's never looked at it as lying, right? And that's not meant to be a slam.
No,
it's because
that's reality.
You're a man. Like it's like you, of course, you're going to be attracted to something, like whether it be one way or another, like something that gets you excited. It's literally part of your your genetic makeup. Like, of course, you're going to feel the desire to like seek out that's the most beautiful part of a relationship, is having that connection with your partner. Right. And so, of course, the world has come up with things to mimic that.
To counterfeit.
To counterfeit it. Exactly.
Yeah, the lust.
It's almost like that's the name of your show. No, but I mean, and I'm over here like I'm telling you about your thing. But like I'm saying, like so many guys run to that or other substances or things like that. You got a major part of the world that doesn't feel like there's any problem with it. Yeah. And I think that there is this healthy line of like, like exploring your emotions and your sexuality in the healthiest way possible with the people that you trust and the people that you are.
And there is a healthy way.
And there is, and I'm sure you probably tell me all about it, right? But what I see with guys is that they run to substance, or they run to pornography or things like that, because like you said, it is alone. It is a singular action.
Yeah, and it's secret.
99% of the times it is secret. Yeah. It is something that I mean, I don't have to sit here and tell you this, but it's just, and then it's riddled in guilt and shame, like you said. I mean, shame. I love the approach that you're taking, that you're addicted to the guilt and the shame. And when I've gone down the rabbit hole on some of your stuff and other just research online, and realizing that like, yeah, that's the driving force between a lot of the bad habits that we have.
Oh yeah.
Is just feeling like we're not good enough, or we're not worth the change, or like, what's one more time, or like, it's the only thing that, I mean, that's why I've taken so much into taking care of my physical health, is that like I'm starting to feel things that I've never felt before, of like what it feels like to be healthier.
I love like watching the transformation.
Feeling like, and it's not about the six pack, right? And it's not about having giant biceps or whatever. It's about feeling that like, that I'm going to go run on a trail, and my 9-year-old daughter's going to get on her bike, and she's going to go with me.
And you're capable.
And I'm capable of doing it now. And it's the things, is like, I used to tell myself that I couldn't do those things. And that's, maybe a very minuscule example when it comes to addiction, right?
But a perfect example.
You tell yourself you can't do these things, or that sometimes you lie to yourself and say one more time, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that we've been all over the place, but there's a million and one things to always work on. And I think, guys, we get so overwhelmed and worked up that we've got so many things that we need to fix right now. We got our own problems. We got someone else's problems. We got financial problems. We got, this is leaking, that's broken, physical things, temporal things, but it's just picking one and running with it and improve. And it doesn't take 21 days to develop a habit. It could take literally 21 minutes. Like if you get down the science of just changing your brain chemistry and taking yourself out of like a moment where you feel like you're stuck or you want to pursue something. This is another thing I could go down the rabbit hole on forever, because you want to talk
another episode.
You want to talk about a guy that was trapped in his thoughts. I mean, my darkest recesses of my minds were literally manifesting as demons, like in hallucinations in my darkest days with bipolar and addicted to Adderall and things like that. And come to find out, it was my brain. It was the worst parts of me telling me things that only I knew. And you can't solve all the problems at once. But it's when you do get a leg up, not a win, like not a total win, or I've completely defeated that dragon. It's when you get a little bit of a leg up, and then you allow yourself to have that win, and you do mirror work. That is one thing I tell everybody to do. Mm-hmm. If I have any suggestion besides going to therapy and seeking an actual psychiatrist instead of just a general practitioner for maybe medication, is mirror work. Go look yourself in the eyeballs. You're going to feel uncomfortable. Like stare straight in your own eyeballs, not at your face, not at your hair, not at your beard or whatever, not at your muscles. Look yourself in the eyeballs and tell yourself something positive, like truly positive. Sometimes you're going to have to fake it.
Yeah.
And do that every single day for a couple of weeks. And eventually you're going to start to feel empathy for the guy that you're looking at.
There's a beautiful book called The Book of Forgiveness. Mm-hmm. By the Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who helped end apartheid. and his daughter, actually Umpo Tutu as well. And there's a story in the book about this lady who actually she was drunk. She hit someone as she was driving, killed him, and went to prison. And every day they actually visited her, and every day they said, look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you.
Yeah. That's a hard one.
And her mirror wasn't a glass mirror. It was a sheet of, polished metal in her cell. And she would wake up every morning and she would look in the mirror. She would say her own name and she said, I love you. And years into doing this habit every day, one morning, her cellmate, she's like, whoa. And she looked back and she said, what do you mean? She goes, today you actually meant it.
Whoa. You're give me the chills, man.
And that's what we need to do. Mm-hmm. We need to see that person that's looking back at us in the mirror and be able to love them. Mm-hmm. On my mirror right now, I have 8 lines of different things I look myself in the eye and I say every single day.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought that up, because being able to have the courage to look in our own eyes and look past our eyes into our soul. Mm-hmm. That's where we find strength.
If you have the potential for something, if you have the ability for something, I'm a firm believer in that you can explore it. And what I mean by that is like emotions. Like if men were not supposed to have emotions, if we were supposed to bottle it up, if we were supposed to be stoic all the time, we wouldn't have the capability for the emotional intelligence that it takes to feel those empathetic moments. And I get guys all the time, especially being on this soapbox of kind of like run from the alpha brain mentality, run from it because it serves you nothing. Guys call me weak and they call me other words I don't think we can use on this show. Right. But at the same time, I get guys that call me when they're struggling, and that's a big one for me. And you've heard the phrase of like, I'd rather have a guy crying on my shoulder than having his casket on my shoulder. Oof. And, we could go down rabbit holes for days on the benefits of emotional connection between men. And the biggest win for me is I have my 9-year-old daughter and I have a 7-year-old son. My 9-year-old daughter is so intelligent at such a young age that she regularly blows my mind with like the stuff that she comes up with. But at the same time, in her adolescence, she has emotions that she doesn't know how to handle. And she struggles really hard already with some anxiety moments, and she struggles with some anger moments. And it's like she has all of this capability, but her maturing brain is almost kind of like overloaded. And so she writes her feelings out
in
all the
diary,
time. In her diary, just little words or whatever. And then the thing is, she'll bring them to me and my wife, and she wants us to read them.
Oh, wow. Which means that you're safe for her.
So to somebody who felt like and had experiences where people didn't feel safe with me in the past, to have this, my father-in-law put it best. My wife is his oldest child, his oldest daughter. And when I sat down with him to ask his blessing all those years ago, he said, Chelsea is my gem. He's like, she made me a father. He's like, I had all of these firsts with her. And just calling her his gem at the time, I was like, oh, that's really sweet. 20-something-year-old kid. I'm like, oh, it's his father. I know what he means. I know what he means now. And it scares me to think that I had a point in my life where I refused to feel these kinds of emotions, that when they would knock on the door, I'd lock it. And I'm like, no, that's soft. That's weak. That's not what men do. I know for a fact I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I've gleaned so much from my wife. How I look at people, how I think about people, how I accept people. I try to accept people as they are, and take myself out of my own way of thinking and just think that this person just wants to exist and they want to be loved and they want to be able to experience life the way they want to. And I've gleaned all of that from my wife. And to think that if I'd have continued down the path of what I thought was the right way to go, I'd never would have had some of the life experiences that I've had. So getting out of my own way and letting somebody else lead for a moment, as much as society and other men will tell you that, like, oh, that's not the way to do it. I almost died in silence. I was loud in all the wrong ways. I'd plume out my peacock feathers, I'd puff up my chest, and I would scream into the echo chamber all of the opinions and things that I thought that I knew. But it took this 5'2", amazingly beautiful little woman to tell me that it was okay for me to not be okay. But then at the same time, tell me and show me that I had responsibilities and I had people that were relying on me and counting on me for a better life. That was my children, and that was her, and doing it together and coming together and creating this beautiful life that is still full of hardships, and we are still kicked in the teeth time and time and time again. And that to sit in those moments of grief and to learn from it and take that as an opportunity of like, what am I supposed to learn here? Or sometimes it's just life happens, and it's about picking yourself back up and going forward. Not about just pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and forgetting it ever happened, but taking it as an opportunity to explore the next thing and to raise the next generation of people to be just a little bit better than we were. And I feel like this next generation of kids that are coming up are just going to completely flip the world on its head, because they ask a million freaking questions and they want to know why in the most authentic way possible. And I love that my daughter and my son get to be a part of that, and to think that there was almost a moment where I wasn't going to be a part of their lives anymore.
I'm so glad you are. And
I don't say these things. I often get people when I talk about these moments, they like, are you okay? Like maybe that's some unhealed situations or whatever. Like, no, I remember those emotions. I remember those feelings because they help continue to drive me forward. They help continue to remind me that I've been there before. And I feel like I'm not a religious guy, but I feel I am very spiritual. And I feel like some of the things that I've gone through have allowed me to be able to meet people where they're at and sit with them there. And then show them like, hey, I've made it out in a sense. I still have a lot of work to do, but if you want to come with me, we're going this way. I've been that way. It just gets darker and darker and darker. Yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to take a long time to get there.
It's a tunnel.
But it gets brighter as you go.
It's a tunnel.
And maybe this will be one of the last stories I'll share with you. I don't know how long we're going, but there was a reoccurring dream I had a long time when I was a very, very emotionally wrecked. I was unmedicated, undiagnosed, just everything falling apart. I mean, hallucinating, terrible time in my mental health history. And I had this reoccurring dream. I was on a battlefield, just almost kind of like Lord of the Rings type battlefield, just long, swooping, rolling hills, and just soldiers for days, like armor, shields, swords, all that stuff. And I was sitting right at the front, and you could see the enemy off in the distance. And it was this very vivid dream. You can imagine the creativity that goes on in my brain when it's shut off at night, or left kind of unbridled. And it was just this charge moment, and we all start running forward, and I was like in front, because in your brain you're the main character in your story. And I would start running, and then I would start panicking and start almost hyperventilating. And I would have all these people in my life that I cared about, that I looked up to and meant something to me, and they were all like right along with me, but I was just enough ahead where I felt like I was leading the charge. But I would start having all these negative feelings, and I would start doubting and all this stuff, and I would start falling back. And as they would continue to run past me, and it was like drop to a knee, sit on the ground, hyperventilate, I can't. And the people that were around me in this dream, like looking at me so confused, like, Logan, we gotta go. Like, they're coming at us. Like, we can't sit down. And it would just end with me in full self-defeating mode. And they would just, in disappointment,
every time.
Yeah. And in disappointment, shake their head and just go rejoin the fight and run off towards the enemy. I'm sure I could sit down with somebody. I probably need to go see a hypnotherapist or something to just kind of explore that dream. But I'd had that dream for years. I talked to a therapist about it, and it wasn't until about a little bit more than a year ago, I had that dream again, as it's been a battle of just different attempts to work on my mental health and my, I keep saying this word, emotional intelligence and all these things, and just trying to better myself. I had that dream again, and that dream would start bringing on anxiety. Like the next day I'd have that dream, I would just be messed up for days whenever I'd have that dream. Same thing, but there was a few more people on the line with me this time. People that weren't a part of my journey before. And, pounding shields, swords in the air, flags, spears, everyone just starts charging at this enemy. But I'd be running faster and faster and faster and faster. And it was just, there was no stopping this time. And it would just end with, kind of the cinematic crash, right when you hit the enemy. But for me, it was waking up after that first time. And I've never had the dream since. But it was just waking up. I'm kind of like, whatever that battle symbolizes, I wasn't dropping out of it anymore. I was going to hit it head on and hit it hard and hit it fast, because I had the support of everybody at my, who was flanking me. So that's a heavy one for me. I'm very big into symbolism and
that's so powerful.
Yeah, that one, like I said, I've never had that dream since. It was almost kind of like that chapter closed, but
because you didn't need it anymore.
Yeah. So that was a heavy one for me.
Logan, I love you, brother.
Thanks, man. Love you too.
I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for you being here. I'm grateful for Chelsea. I'm grateful for the good you do. I'm so grateful that there's a man across the world that's alive today because of you. I'm so grateful that you're teaching people masculinity doesn't mean bravado, doesn't mean hubris. That's the counterfeit of courage. That's a counterfeit of bravery. The true bravery is when you do the battle here. When you do the battle inside. That's true bravery. I'm so grateful for that. And my final question, there's only one emotion that has no counterfeit, and that's peace. Where does Logan Peterson find peace?
Oh, geez. That's a heavy question. Where do I find peace? I mean, I've got a million things that probably come to the front of my mind, but I find peace knowing that I could try again tomorrow. That if I messed it up today, that it's not final. It's not the end of the world. I've been in end of the world situations before. And I find peace knowing that I have an opportunity to improve. I know it sounds super cliche, but I find peace knowing that who I am and who I am becoming is helping people, and that people feel emboldened by me just trying to be me. So, and I take that as a personal win, that people are finding they're finding themselves in just me trying to be an authentic version of me. I know that maybe sounds really conceited, but I spent so long,
There's so much truth in that,
telling everybody else who I thought I was, or who I wanted them to believe that I was. So me just pulling out my phone and hitting record, sitting down on a podcast and talking with my best friend and talking with other friends that I've met along the way. And people are like, wow, this really resonates with me. I'm like, that's like, hey, I'm following whatever path, whoever designed this life for me. I feel like I find peace in the fact that I'm trying really hard to follow that path, and that I am having more impact on the people that I care about and people I haven't met yet by just being who I am and not projecting somebody that I think that I am.
you're doing a great job at it. You're doing a great job at it. And there's a real deep principle there. Authenticity brings peace. Letting go of the counterfeits and being your most authentic. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, man. It's been fun.
Thank you guys for being part of this conversation. And my hope is that if you're feeling those things, that you reach out. And if you're not, find someone that may be, that needs your help, that needs you to drag them out of the pit, that needs you to carry the water back to the fire. Be that person. Be that person. Make the call. Drive to their house. Do whatever you need to do to help them find peace too. See you guys next week.